right, welcome everybody. This is another edition of Get On Board, our podcast that we started over the past year, and we're happy to still be fully in business here and moving forward with our season 3, which is exciting. And thank you for all of our listeners that have continued to be loyal and all of our new listeners as well. My name is Michael Mendillo. I'm president of FirstService Residential and happy to be the host here on this podcast. And we have two very special guests with us today that we're going to be chatting about a couple of different topics that I think is super important, especially over the past few years where we have seen great spotlights on, I would say, areas that need to be viewed and looked and changed in kind of the lenses of all of us. And our industry, community association management, falls in all these categories as well. We are obviously in a field of managing residential real estate. And when you're managing residential real estate, those are homeowners' most valued, I'll say, possession, second to their family, would be the asset that they live in. And to manage that, it touches a lot of tentacles and a lot of expertise that management companies need to lean into the professionals and the different vendors that bring these skill sets to the table for them to do their job. It can't be done by one person. So over the years, I've had the great pleasure of meeting many, many people throughout the country that bring different skill sets and different businesses and services that help us in the management industry not only succeed, but in some cases survive in this field. So we have Adrienne Zaleski. I'm hoping saying that correct. So and with us from Landcaster Landscaping, and we have Jenny Osborne from SC Companies, which is a restoration and contracting business. And I'll tell you a little story about how I got to meet both Jenny and Adrienne at a event that we held in March, the end of March, I believe it was March 25th. FirstService in the DC Metro Mid-Atlantic market held a professional and vendor appreciation networking event, which was the eve of the WMCC CCAI conference, which was on the 26th. And we held it with our associates locally, and we invited a lot of the professionals that we do business with and wanted to thank them. And really, it was a way of us thanking them for the services, especially coming off of COVID, which was incredibly challenging for everybody around this industry and around the world. And I was introduced to Adrienne and Jenny and started to ask them about their business and what they do. And I really have to tell you, I got really sucked into this because one, their energy and their professionalism obviously stood out. That would be number one. The reputation of the businesses that they represent and own was two. Both of them CEOs of their companies and owners. So I always have, I'll say, a great admiration for anyone that creates things and then obviously sustains that type of service. But quite frankly, the overwhelming part of this that really caught my eye was within community association management, there's a lot of professionals and vendors, attorneys, accountants, engineers, and pest control, window cleaning, landscaping, restoration, and contracting. And some of those skills have been dominated by males. And, I looked at landscaping and restoration and contracting, and clearly those are two specific skills and services that, at least in the community association management, through my lenses, have been dominated by male executives or owners. And I was super impressed and inspired to speak to two very talented leaders, as well as two passionate leaders about the service they provide in the business. And I said, wow, I literally, after an hour talking to them, said, I have to get you on this podcast because I think this is a great opportunity to inspire. It was inspiring and is inspiring to me that when people break through barriers of stereotypes, if you will, and what got them into this industry, let alone in this skill. And unfortunately, I probably dominated too much of their time. They didn't have an opportunity to drink and mingle as much, but I was so sucked into all the different questions, and they were awesome. They were so nice at the same time. So I followed through with it. We connected a bunch of times, and I said, let's do this. And here we are. Here we are kicking off season 3. We're going to do either 3 or 4 episodes on this topic. So what I'd love to do is for both Adrienne and Jenny to kind of introduce themselves and their business first. And then we're going to go into how did they land on this kind of career? Like, how did you get here from where it started? So I'm going to pass it over to Adrienne first. Just kind of give us the background of your company and the services that you provide.
Of course. Um, so obviously I run Landcaster Landscapes. Lancaster Landscapes was founded in 1962 by a gentleman by the name of Ed Lancaster. And throughout the years, it has gone through 2 different owners, one of them including myself. And we're a commercial landscaping company. We service the Washington, D.C. metropolitan region. We provide landscape management services, which is anything from, your mowing operations to aeration and overseeding. We also have a installation and design division, which will come out and do plans for you and redo your entire landscape. We have a tree division as well. They help with tree removals, installations, or any emergency service work that might occur. And then we also, if that wasn't enough, we have an irrigation division, and we also provide snow removal services to our clients within the Washington, D.C. metropolitan region.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you so much for accepting the offer to join me today and us. And it's great to have you. But quick, Adrienne, a thought that just came as you were sharing with us all the different services. And you may not know this off the top of your head, and it's okay if you don't. Would you say, I'm assuming there's a certain part of your business that is, I'll say, community association driven on the residential side, and do you do commercial real estate as well? And if you do, what's the percentage breakdown? Is it 50-50, 70-30? Where do you sit with that?
I would say 70-30 is a very good split, actually. We do some work, some county work with Fairfax County and, the city of Rockville. But our main, customers are in homeowners associations.
So the 70% would be on the residential. And in that, does your company and firm do work with developers that are,
mm-hmm.
You do?
Yes.
Great. And I'm assuming national as well as regional and parochial.
We stick, regionally. We don't, go outside of this area.
But I meant now. Well, I meant like there's the Toll Brothers that are national builders.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Work with them is great.
Pratt. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. And I love it. We're going to come back to it because I do have some questions with reference to like when the company started and how it's changed over, you being the third owner, and kind of how that worked. Because I think it's awesome to see what you've taken the business from, I guess 60 60 years ago, right? Or 62 years ago when it was founded in 1960, if my math is right. But thank you very much. So Jenny on the block, rolling over to you. Thank you so much. Had a great conversation with you as well. And please share with us kind of the services that SC companies operate in, and also the geographic area as well.
Okay, great. So SC Companies, we are a restoration and construction firm. So we do all your water extractions, your mold remediation, sewage cleanup, biohazard, all that restoration. And then we're a full Class A general contractor. So we can handle everything from paint and drywall all the way up to full builds and everything in between. We also do cleaning. That's actually how we started is we do cleaning. So that includes general janitorial and maintenance cleaning, post-production cleaning, and we do carpet cleaning, window washing, pressure washing. If it needs cleaned, we can definitely handle it. And we've been in business since '83, and my parents had started the company as just the cleaning firm, and now we service all of Northern Virginia, DC, and Maryland. We work primarily with new home builders and managed communities. We do so many services that we had to keep our customer base pretty niche. So.
Fantastic. That's great. I love it. So similar to Adrienne, except it's more of a family started business, and those have its challenges too on the next generation of taking it. So obviously you've done really well with taking the business to the next level, adding on additional services. So kudos to both of you on your leadership and vision as leaders. So love hearing that. So Jenny, on yours, how much does your business operate in the community association management industry, residential versus commercial as well?
So yeah, we do some commercial work and some government work. I would say commercial, we're probably about 20%. New home builders were probably about probably 30%, and then 50% on managed communities, if my math is right.
That's great. That's great. So thank you for that. So Adrienne, how did you get here? Besides the trailer we sent to you and the hair makeup we put out there for you, but how did your career, your journey?
Yes.
Would you be kind enough to share kind of what's that look like?
Of course. It might be rather long, so I apologize. No, I'm kidding. I actually graduated from East Carolina University with a degree in marketing and communications. And when I graduated, I accepted a couple jobs at a few places. And then I had the opportunity of going to work for one of this area's largest locally owned and operated landscaping companies in our region. I was hired on to be a customer service representative, and they had an odd account that this customer service representative had to work out of a very large and very upscale community in Potomac, Maryland. I stayed there for 2.5 years and then gradually worked my way up through this company. I was actually there for 13 years, and I held a couple different, titles within the company. But then I guess in 2017, or the latter part of 2016, I was approached by Joel Owen, who was the president of Landcaster Lanscapes at the time, and a couple of his investors. And they met with me to discuss, this business plan, which would have me eventually slowly take over the company. And so I started working for them, and I was in charge of business development. I was the vice president of business development. And that was really for a time that I really could familiarize myself with their operations. I had already been a part of a different organization and saw how they ran things. And I really, really just wanted to know my players and, get familiar with the staff. And then in March of 2018, I took over as president. And here we are ever since. No, and I through all that time slowly was buying the company, as you all know. I mean, I didn't have that money to write off. I had 2 kids at the time. I was very stressed out. And my kids are the age of 7 and 3. And it was a stressful time, but I took a leap and I would never look back. I think it's been wonderful.
Awesome. I'm going to come back to that because I think that's a great area to start on kind of how you overcame that, because those responsibilities, and I really do have a tremendous amount of respect and definitely inspiring, because I do think, the mom skills kick in, right? You have this, hey, I'm a mom of 2 young children, very impressionable years and ages. And, here you are, working your way up the ladder to being an executive in a landscaping company. And then now you have to figure out how you strategize, financing the ownership of it. So definitely want to hear more about that. So I'm gonna come back to that on it with it. But great area to hit next. So Jenny, obviously you shared that it's a family business, but was it something you knew, in your high school, college, or younger years that, oh, this is what I'm going to go into? So please share your story with us.
Yeah, so no, to answer that question, I had no idea that I would be sitting here 20 years ago. I grew up cleaning houses. My parents owned a cleaning company and they didn't believe in childcare. So they did believe in child labor. So we were able to go out in the field and we cleaned a lot. So I mostly worked with my mom and sister, and my brother did some stuff, and my dad kind of ran the business. And I was always cleaning, and it sounds a bit cliche, but I always tell myself, and I tell him, I'm a cleaning lady that happens to be a CEO of a construction company, right? Because in my heart, I'm a cleaning lady. It is the hardest profession I've ever done. And those girls and guys work their butts off. And it's just always been rewarding to go into a house that looks like a bomb went off. And when you leave it, it's ready for homeowners to move in. So we're cleaning, and I never always understood why the cleaning ladies were looked down upon. Like it always confused me. I'm like, I'm not mean to anybody. I'm working hard. But in that industry, remember I grew up in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s cleaning these houses, and new home construction was almost exclusively male dominated. But they've always waited until the girls got there to get all upset about stuff. Like the cleaners were responsible for why the paint didn't look good and why the electricity was bad. But whatever, we go and do our job. And one day this superintendent was unreasonably disrespectful to my mom. Now, my mom is the single hardest working person I have ever known. And I remember just being enraged and going, never again. Never again. I have got to figure out how to bring everything forward, because I don't want this anymore. Just because we're cleaning doesn't mean we don't deserve respect. I never understood it. So we grew a company, right? It lit a fire in me, and we grew a company, and we started. I knew my brother's capable, and I know my sister's capable, and my parents kind of just a little bit along for the ride. I'm like, come on, we got this. So I got my MBA so that they at least, I could say, hey, this doesn't work out, I got a backup plan, right? And go work at, a consulting firm. So I got my MBA, and I started with, what did we do first? Oh, we started carpet cleaning. And so we brought a carpet cleaning division and built that up. And I would go in the evenings and clean carpets with my husband. Poor him. It's the only time he's ever worked with us. And then from carpet cleaning, our customers were like, hey, can you do water extraction? let me look at it. So I watched some videos and I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. So we rented equipment, we did water extraction, bought all of the meters and everything, and that went really well. And then we got the call, hey, can you do mold remediation? Oh, let me watch a few more videos. And we found a third party, a certified indoor environmentalist that I would bring out, and I would just make him go through all of our jobs with us. And I was like a sponge, just trying to absorb anything I could, because mold remediation, we got to charge like $75 an hour, and we were cleaning houses. It was $75 for the whole house. Like, this was like, we were making money, even though we were charging the least in the industry. But so we get this a certified indoor environmentalist, and I'm picking his brain every time. So what if the humidity is this, and what happens if we add water, and what happens if we add heat, and all of this stuff. So we end up growing into, and I say it still today, the best mold remediation company in Northern Virginia. We can definitely address anything with mold remediation because we were active and we were learning, and every opportunity we had to ask questions, we would. And our key to success was we knew how to clean, right? Mold remediation is just very detailed cleaning that you have to use some different chemicals. You know, you're trying to make a house that's hospitable for people, but not plants, or at least not the plants you don't want. So it really appealed to the science side of what I enjoyed. And then we got the call, hey, can you do construction? Well, I knew that was a whole different thing. So we took a few years and we retooled and got our general contractor, asked questions, watched videos, hired the right people. And we started doing these full construction jobs. You know, we at first, just drywall and paint, and then we move our way up to now we're doing, multi-million-dollar renovations that are all done by a cleaning lady, essentially, that happens to have an MBA and a general contractor license and past board president. So I've always tried to make sure that we grew, and I was fortunate enough that I had a really good family that would grow with me. Sometimes they went kicking and screaming. Sometimes it got loud. We're Scottish and Italian, so we fit right in with construction, right? So, that's just kind of how we grew. And now my mom is the CFO of a multi-million-dollar construction firm, and superintendents, I come fix their mistakes.
Right.
So
I love it.
changed.
I love it. Wow, what a story. First of all, it's amazing kind of what inspires everyone, right? Individually. And I know there's a lot of other things that touch that, but, at least both of you that shared your story, comes back to kind of family, right? Adrienne, you mentioned about, when your kids were younger and, wanting to be successful as a CEO and figure a way on how do I acquire this business. Clearly, there's many reasons why, but in some or in most cases, there's something that comes back to another driving force in this sense of providing, right, for the family as well. So it's great to hear. And Jenny, your story with just the backing of your mom and what motivated you to pivot to what you can do, and that's the common expressions we hear, like, how do you make lemonade out of lemons, right? It's that type of scenario. And politely, who gets the last laugh, right? You're obviously service oriented, so you're going to service your clients, may they be foremen or project managers or managers. You're going to do the best and be professional, but you did it in that way, and that says a lot about you as well. So love these stories. I can go like 2 hours literally on just like what's the family psyche, because I do think our surroundings, and it doesn't have to necessarily be family. It could just be loved ones that surround us or influencers in our lives, have directly or indirectly casted a light on us. And then we are choosers, right? You as leaders are choosers on what do you choose to grasp to get you to where you want to go. So there is a lot about what your choice was, and then how you kind of put that vision and plan together, and then attack it in a sense of, making it a business, and a business that serves people, right? Of that. And at heart, which I think is great, you're both very grounded on who you are and what got you there. And whatever 2 cents I might add in, my experience is stay humbled in the journey. Definitely stay humbled in the journey, and people will sniff that out. If you're reading a great marketing tagline that your marketing company put together, people are going to feel if it's bullshit, it's not real, versus, that's coming from the person's heart. I see it. And both of you, again, even when the first time I met you and since then gotten to know you more, you could see that come out.